All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a massive foundational piece of mythology that completely flips a narrative we all thought we knew. When we think about the ultimate rebellion, the ultimate loss of paradise, our minds almost always go straight to the exact same story, right? The fall of Lucifer. But the source text we are analyzing today reveals a massive mythological secret. There was a loss of heaven that actually predates Lucifer's famous fall. It's a wild story of heartbreak, erasure, and a rage that literally reshaped the cosmos. Let's get right into it. So this brings us to the central question of our explainer today. Who lost heaven before Lucifer? Well, according to the captivating narrative in our source text, it was Lilith. Long before any angels waged war up in the sky, Lilith experienced an initial exile that set a massive chain of events into motion. It wasn't just her departure, though. It was her subsequent wrath and heartbreak that became the true beginning of Hell's rise. And as you'll see, this text doesn't frame her story as a simple villain's origin. No, it's a deeply tragic sequence of events. Section 1. The Replacement in Eden. The story kicks off with some truly devastating news. Imagine the ultimate heartbreak, but magnified on a cosmic scale. So Lilith is currently exiled to a place called Dark Island, and she receives a messenger at Hellgate. Now remember, she was a companion who fundamentally just wanted to be treated as an equal. But instead, the messenger reveals she's been effortlessly replaced. Adam is no longer alone. A new woman, one born simply from his rib, has taken her place. This realization that she was swapped out with such incredible, effortless speed acts as a major catalyst. Old wounds rip wide open, sparking a deep-seated grief that instantly morphs into an uncontrollable wildfire of rage. Her visceral reaction is captured in this absolutely chilling response, "Then let Eden burn with them." She's actually given warnings, told by others that absolutely nothing waits for her back there except pain. But she doesn't care. She flat out declares that if pain is all that waits, well, she'll make sure they feel hers too. She leaves Dark Island behind, carrying literally nothing but her anger and her unanswered questions, and begins the long journey to the cliffs overlooking the world she once called home. Lilith finally reaches the cliffs of Eden. This is a place she honestly thought she would never lay eyes on again. Looking down, she sees the undisturbed beauty of the gardens. Nothing has changed. It is just as breathtaking as the day she left it. But then, she sees a figure moving among the gardens. It's Adam. And standing right beside him, standing exactly where Lilith used to belong, is the woman born from his rib. The source tells us that for a moment, Lilith completely forgot how to breathe. Section 2. Confrontation at the gates. So Lilith races towards the gates, but her path is completely blocked by three angelic guardians, Senoi, Sensenoi, and Sanjaluf. The text brilliantly contrasts their reactions to her arrival here. Senoi, surprisingly, doesn't greet her with hatred. He looks at her and actually sees pain rather than darkness, even offering a glimmer of hope that, hey, this doesn't have to end in violence. Sansenoi, on the other hand, is entirely hostile, completely unconvinced that peace is even on the table. Section 3. A plea for equality. What happens next is a fascinating ideological clash right at the literal boundary of paradise. Sensenoi leads the charge with this incredibly harsh accusation. You chose to defy the creator. Stop pretending you're the victim. To the angels, everything is just black and white. You defy the creator, you take the blame, end of story. They argue that she chose to leave Adam, she abandoned Eden, and therefore any suffering Adam endured was entirely her fault. They just want to shut her down completely. But Lilith counters immediately with this heartbreaking defense. Listen to this. I never asked to be above Adam. I never asked to be below him. I only wanted to be treated as an equal. Her rebellion was never about dominance, right? It was purely a plea for equality. And this powerful appeal is so striking that, according to the text, for the first time ever, even the angels fall completely silent. For a fleeting second, it actually seems like her words have reached them. Section 4. The erased memories. But of course, the silence among the angels doesn't hold. The escalating noise of the argument actually draws someone out from inside Eden. Adam himself steps to the gates. Now, I want you to imagine the sheer gravity of the scene. Lilith has traveled all this way, fueled by betrayal and anger. She's fighting with literal angels. And suddenly, there he is. The text notes that for a brief second, the battle completely stops for Lilith. Nothing else matters. And then comes the crushing blow. Lilith announces herself, saying she may have changed, but she is still Lilith. And Adam just looks at her and says, "Who is Lilith?" Wow, those three words are described as hurting more than any blade.
He doesn't just reject her, he doesn't even recognize the woman standing right in front of him. The angels then reveal the brutal, devastating truth of the situation. The Creator erased every single memory Adam had of Lilith. Because Adam suffered from her absence, his mind was wiped completely clean to make way for a better companion. Think about how terrifying that is for a second. Your entire shared existence, your whole history together, just deleted, gone. This realization utterly and completely shatters Lilith's psyche.
When Lilith's reason shatters, her rage returns, and it overflows far beyond her control. In the absolute chaos of this eruption, she isn't fighting with reason anymore. The empathetic angel, Senoi, realizes what is happening, but it's too late. The light inside him begins to break apart, and he is accidentally destroyed, turning back into pure light. Lilith never meant for this to happen. But the damage is done, and to the memory-wiped Adam standing there watching all of this unfold, she is cemented forever as nothing more than a terrifying monster.
This whole sequence brilliantly illustrates the full tragedy of her arc. It begins with her exile, right? Which is followed by the news of her replacement. She makes her fateful return, only to face the ultimate rejection of being forgotten. This triggers the accidental murder of Senoi, and finally it leads her right back to wandering. She walks away from Eden, alone once more, wandering without purpose in a world that suddenly feels incredibly colder than it did before. She is left questioning herself for the very first time.
Section 5. The Fall of Lucifer.
Just as Lilith is wandering at her absolute lowest point, completely consumed by this lonely introspection, the sky itself changes. The heavens have cast out a fallen angel, Lucifer. The timing here is incredibly cinematic. Lilith approaches this falling feature carefully, and in this striking realization, she understands that for the first time since her creation, she is no longer the only fallen one in the cosmos. Section 6. A new war begins. Lilith takes this newly fallen angel to the only place she really knows, Hellgate. But as they arrive, the ancient, massive Leviathan wakes up. Leviathan commands Lilith to move aside, basically challenging her authority and questioning why on earth she brought this fallen angel there. But Lilith refuses to back down. She fiercely holds her ground. The war in heaven might have just ended with Lucifer's expulsion, but right here at the gates of hell, another conflict is already beginning. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to chew on. With heaven's war over, what exactly will this new alliance between the first fallen woman and the first fallen angel unleash upon the world? This explainer really shows us that history is rarely just about the victors. It's about the erased, the exiled, and the wars that start when they finally find each other. Thank you so much for joining me as we unpacked this incredible source material. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I will see you in the next explainer.